Hey guys, Dave Gass on an incredibly beautiful but angry Massachusetts Tuesday. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I've had a few cold ones. I'm furious. We just lost $2,800 from a company that we have filled their pockets, God, since 2002. Nissan Motor Company, or whatever the hell they call themselves. Like I showed in a previous video a couple weeks ago, my wife's 2024 all-wheel drive Ultima SR or whatever, White Pearl, was totaled, rear-ended by somebody on the phone. Thank God she was fine. Got her the same car, just in a different color. Had to pay either $40 or $60 more a month for the 2025. It is the last year of the Ultima. We have leased, we tried to do the math, I think it's 15 Nissans. And I love leasing, period. Because when we were poor and we were driving $700 cars, I swore, and it was work all week and then work on the cars on the weekend so we could get to work again. And I said, once we make it, that's never going to happen again. I did auto painting for 38 years. I was driving 100 miles a day. I want my wife to be safe. I think she works hard and she deserves to drive a beautiful vehicle if that's what she wants. It makes me proud. Now, I fell in love with the Nissan brand years ago. First Nissan was a 2003 Maxima Meridian. Picture 2003, but it was 2002. You know how they mess with the years. And that thing was almost $35,000 back in 2002. That's how nice it was. The Bose, leather, 19-inch wheels, 6 or 8 CD changer, whatever. It's not important. But this is what happens now. After leasing 14 or 15 vehicles from them, my wife's car, her 2024 Ultima, got totaled a couple weeks ago. Some kid on a phone in his work truck, totaled the car with 4,000 miles on it. We had to get a new one. Got her the same car, but a 2025 in a different color. So our monthly payment went up probably $50. Had to take $2,000 out of our pockets, and insurance went up. So it was a screw job. But we were supposed to get back $2,800 from our insurance company. But Nissan changed their policy without telling anybody about the leases. I called Nissan, then I called my salesperson who I have leased at least 8 cars from, and I told her about it. She was not even aware of this problem. And if you're going to lease a car, or you know somebody who's going to lease a car, make sure they know this. First of all, get gap insurance. Because I had a friend, he had a Hyundai, just leased it. The car was not worth what he leased it for. Car got hit by a drunk driver with no insurance. So what the payoff was on the car and what the car was worth, there was a $7,000 difference lower, the worth of the car. He got stuck with the $7,000. He could not afford it. He had to go and file for bankruptcy. But that's not the problem. The problem is, so when my wife's car got totaled, we had put down like $3,000 or whatever on this car. And anytime other cars this has happened, which she's had a couple, luckily I haven't. Once they pay off the vehicle, the insurance company, the leasing company will give you back the difference. So, a down payment. Say you put $10,000 down on the car. Obviously, what you owed is way lower than what the car was worth, especially if it has 4,000 miles on it. It's brand new. And you would get that check back. Well, my wife's car gets totaled. We're told we're getting $2,800 back. Today we get a letter from Nissan saying, oh no, they no longer do that. They were the owner of the vehicle, so they keep the check, they keep the deductible from the other company, so they made out like bandits. God, I think they got $33,000, and the payoff was $2,800 less, which was supposed to go to us. I was told it was going to us, the whole bit. Well, Nissan Corporation, they changed their policy. So they keep whatever they get. So like I said, if you put 10 grand down and the car gets totaled right away, that 10 grand's gone. So if you're going to lease a car, find out what happens if it gets totaled, and make sure you get gap insurance. And the other part is, if there's going to be a problem with you getting the check, if the car gets totaled, the difference, don't put any money down. I would never do it again. I called, like I said, my salesperson, leased a ton of cars from her. I called the sales manager. I talked to the German. They didn't even know this. They talked to Nissan, and that's bad business. When I put, I'm so aggravated, put that much money into their pockets, and every 3 years we're getting 2 vehicles, and you want to screw us like that? F you, Nissan. I told her I'm getting ready to get a new Frontier. I think it was 50 grand. I said, sorry, you won't be seeing me again. That's bad business. And she agreed. And she leases. And she, who's a wonderful person, it's not her fault. She just bought leased a new Murano and put $7,000 down. So if she gets hit and it's totaled, and it's not her fault or her fault, she's out that $7,000. You put money down to lower your monthly payment. If you don't put money down, in the end, it still comes out the same. I love to lease because I don't want to work on my car. Now most vehicles, it's 3 years, 36,000 miles. So that's what the lease is. That's what the warranty is. So you give it back after 3 years. Like my wife's car that just got totaled. I don't want to own that car. 4,000 miles, needs 2 rear quarters, a door, trunk, rear body panel, buckle the roof. You think I want to own that car? So if you buy a brand new car, you do a 5-year, 7-year loan, and the car gets T-boned between the 2 doors. Brand new, say you made 2 payments on it. You got another, whatever how many years to drive that car, and if the repair fails, it's your car. That's why I like leasing. I don't like the responsibility of owning a car. I don't want to have to change tires. I don't want to have to put a new exhaust on. I don't want to put brakes on. That's why I like the lease. It's every 3 years. We each get a new vehicle. It's hands off. And we don't have children. Our house is paid off. It's something we allowed ourselves as a gift. We don't vacation. We live in paradise, in our opinion. But that's the deal, guys. I know I'm rambling, but I'm mad. If you know somebody who's going to lease a car, tell them. Find out, number one, if the car gets totaled, what happens to the money they put down if the amount the car is worth and the payoff, if there's that difference, ask them if they get it back. If they don't, tell them, don't put any money down. Pay the higher per month. If they give it back, like it happened to a Honda she had, we got the money back. You know, in between. The car was worth more than the payoff because of money we put down. Honda didn't even blink. They got paid, and then they sent us the check of the rest. Not every vehicle, that's going to be the case, though. Some cars, they don't lease well. The payoff and the depreciation, like I said, Hyundais and Kias, sometimes it's not a good car to lease. Certain cars, when you lease them, they hold great value, like a RAV4, something like that. RAV4s, God, when you turn the car back in, it's almost as worth as much as you leased it for, and you know, they just don't depreciate that much. Certain cars are like that. And as far as buying a lease, the other thing you have to remember, because everybody says, oh, just buy your lease. Nissan, they charge, I think it's $600 or $800 for you to buy the lease, and The sales tax was already in your 3-year lease. Now when you purchase it, you got to pay sales tax again. So it's not a deal. Back then, they did the residual values lower. So there was a big gap in between what you could buy the car for and what they valued it at, and you could buy them and you could make good money. I did it many times. Now you can't. They've made the residual value so high, which is the buy after a lease, that it's not worth it anymore. So I probably won't be leasing anymore. We will probably become buyers, and that's after counting, whatever, 14, 15 Nissans, and then a couple of Hondas in there, a couple of Fords in there. We're probably 22 leases, I think, between the two of us. Started in the 90s. I don't want to own the car, but this changes my perspective. Or I'm just going to keep leasing and not put any money down anymore. So if you know anybody who's going to lease, let them know. Let them find out. I talked to the insurance company. I said, why didn't you send me the difference? Oh, we don't do that anymore. And here's another one. I know this video is long and nobody's probably going to watch it unless they're going to lease. With Nissan, if you go over a toll booth, like a bridge or something like that, and you don't have Easy Pass and there's no way to pay, which is very common like in the Rhode Island area, you need the Easy Pass. If you don't have it, it's, I think, $42 a penalty every time they get sent, whatever, say you go over the bridge and it's $4. They charge you $42 plus the $4. It happened to me without knowing that they changed their rule, because I had done it before and they just send you the bill for the $4. All of a sudden, one day, I went over the bridge 4 times because I had a dentist appointment. And they changed the rule like a few days before that. I got my payment for my vehicle, and then I got another bill for a couple of $100 for going to the dentist. So these are things we got to know, people. They're not going to tell you. And like I said, my salesperson didn't even know it. Some information from Dave Gass, if you're somebody who leases a vehicle, because you don't own it. So they control it. You go put down a ton of money, you want to buy a friggin' Escalade, and the payment's going to be $1,500 or whatever, and you say, I'm going to lease it, it'll be more like $900, and I'll put 10 grand down. Somebody totals that thing on you, that 10 grand's gone, which is a shame because it wasn't that way. But if you lease a vehicle, I hope I helped you out, and I'm ranting and I'm mad, and my next call is going to be to the company that the kid was looking at his phone and rear-ended my wife's car and now cost us $2,800. I'm not done putting this thing away. Dave Gass out.